So welcome everyone. Today we are going to do process costing. Okay, this is one of the topics of your cost management area, right? So if you remember, we already discussed in the last class, we were doing activity based costing, and then we also completed absorption and variable costing, right? So when I started the costing area, I told you every costing method has some different characteristics, right? So what is the differentiating factor for process costing? It handles work in progress. Okay, no other method handles work in progress. So this is the most important thing. So as the name suggests, process costing is used in process industries like oil and gas, sugar mills, fertilizer companies, where process is going on. So at the end of the month, there is some material which is still under process, I mean under manufacturing operations, right? So how to handle that we will learn in this area. Very important topic and very interesting also. So I will try to make it as simple as possible for you. Okay, so let's start. In this Excel sheet, we have around 7 questions. Okay, once we are done with these 7 questions, then we will start MCQs. So these 7 questions will explain you everything which is in your exam, okay, which is in your syllabus. From every angle, I will show you how to solve a process costing question. So let's start with question number 1. Now see, this is like a T account I have created for you. If you see here, this is a T account, right? Everyone? Now, I wrote on the top process account. Okay, this thing in the middle, if I click here, this on the left side, this is your debit side, and on the right side, this is your credit side. Okay, if you want, I can color for you also, so it's more clear. So for example, this green area is your debit side, and this orange area is your credit side. Okay, so my friends, examiner will not give you T account like this. Examiner will give you a paragraph, okay, which we will see when we will do MCQs, right? Now, you need to remember that the process costing question, which is my actually strategy, I teach through T accounts. Okay, there are other approaches as well, but you need to follow T account approach. And this is the best approach you can do. And there is no chance of mistake if you do it properly. Okay. Now, if you can see in the T account on both sides, we have 3 columns. What is the name of the first column? It's units, right? Second column is called unit cost, and the third column is total amount. Similarly, on this side also. Okay. Now, examiner is telling you during the month we have 2000 units of material input into the process. So you will write here. It can be liter, kilogram, whatever it is, no problem. And then they will tell you the cost also, that the cost of the material is this much. So in this question, how much is the cost of material? It is 5,000, right? So you know very well that to convert material into finished good, we need 2 things, which are labor and overheads, right? Labor and overhead in totality, they are also called conversion cost. So examiner, instead of telling you that labor is this much and overhead is this much, he can also tell you conversion cost is this much. Okay, so you need to remember this point. So they told you labor cost incurred during the month was 3,000 and overheads are 2,800, right? So like this we totaled it. If you see total amount, how much? Total amount is 10,800. Okay, and we also totaled the units column, which is 2,000. Then examiner told you that finished goods during the month are 1,800, which we wrote here. So if you see, there is a difference. the input is 2000, right? For example, you are processing a chemical. Okay, so when you will process a chemical, maybe you will do some boiling exercise or something, so there will be evaporation, right? Or even you process milk, so when you will uh, boil the milk, what will happen? There will be some evaporation, right? So that is called natural process. So because of that, finished goods will may be less than what you have input. Now we need to know how much is normal loss. So examiner will tell you how much is the normal loss. Okay, this is calculated by engineers. They will tell as per past experience, as per industry standards, how much is the normal loss. So they are saying here it is 10% of input units. So in the normal loss column here, what you will do is you will say is equal to zero point 0.1, right, into okay, see here I am not doing, this is the question, so I am doing on this side. I have written A1 for you. A1 means answer 1 and Q1 means question 1. Okay, so here what I am doing is, first of all, I am totaling my units. Okay, then I am totaling my cost. Okay, same as in the question. And then I came here in the normal loss and I'm saying zero point 0.1 into input, right? Input units. Normal loss will be on input or output? Input. Okay, so that will become 200. Now you will total the T account. If you see, total is also 2000. So it's matching. See, this 2000 and this 2000 is matching. This means that there is no abnormal loss, no abnormal gain. So whatever was our expectation, that has come up in reality also. Okay, this is very rare, but definitely we have to start the topic with a simple exercise. So that's why I'm showing you like this. Anyways, see, now you need to remember what are the major requirements. In this type of a question, examiner can ask you what is the unit cost for the month. Examiner can ask you what is the total cost of finished goods. This is the second yellow cell, right? Examiner can also ask you how much is the cost of normal loss. Okay, in this type of question, he can ask you these three requirements. So let's see how to calculate it. So you need to remember a formula. For solving this type of question, you need to remember a formula to calculate the unit cost. Okay, to calculate the unit cost, you need to remember this formula. Now, unit cost, I am saying, is equals to, unit cost is equals to, okay, total cost incurred. Total cost incurred divided by expected output. Getting it? Total cost incurred divided by expected output. This is the formula where expected output is input units minus normal loss units. Okay, NL means normal loss and FG means finished goods. Okay, MAT means material, LAB means labor, OH means overheads. Now see, if I want to calculate my unit cost here, what I will do, I need in the numerator what? Total cost incurred. See the formula now. I am going here, this is my total cost incurred. Okay, this cell. Then I am saying divided by, bracket open, I need what? I need my input units, right? These are my input units, right? Minus, these are my normal loss units, 200. Bracket close, this is my answer. So how much is the answer? 6. Got it? So this is the way to calculate your unit cost. Now see, if you want, you can also do like this. Let me show you how you can get 6. So you said, okay, my cost was 10,800 and my finished goods are 1800. So 6 coming again. Why? In this case, 6 is coming like this also because, you know, there is no abnormal loss and abnormal gain. That's why. Okay, but this is wrong formula what you have applied. if you take the total cost divided by finished goods directly. No, because the formula is this one. Okay, so it is quite possible that your expected output is equal to actual output, like in this question, but most probably your expected output will be different than your actual output. Okay, so please remember, don't use actual output in the calculation of unit cost. We will use expected output. What is the reason? I will tell you in the next question. Okay, so I hope it's clear with everyone. If you need the total cost, what you will do is just multiply this 1800 with the 6. So this is 10,800 is your cost of finished goods. If you see the total is matching, the total is matching or not? 10,800 on the credit side and on the debit side also 10,800. So you know this is the rule in the T account approach, that both sides should balance, right? It means that this, what will be this figure? What will be this figure here? Getting it? So the answer is there is no cost for normal loss. Okay, so here it is nil, 0. Okay, nothing, not applicable here. And this is also not applicable. Getting it, everyone? So there is no cost for normal loss. We don't charge cost of normal loss. Why? Because you see what's happening. You are taking milk and you are boiling it, right? So when you took the milk from the farmer, it was 2000 liters. Then you boiled it. Then it remained how much? Only 1800. Why you boiled it? Right? Because of the customer, right? Because of the customer, you are boiling it. So whatever you are losing, which is this 200, which is a normal, natural phenomena. So you will charge the cost of this normal loss to the customer. So I'm writing here, normal loss cost is charged to the customer. Getting it, my friends? Okay, how to prove it actually? If I don't charge normal loss cost to the customer, what will happen is, you will say, okay, I purchased 2000 liters. How much is my cost? So you say, okay, my cost is 10,800 divided by 2000, right or not? So how much is coming? 5.4. If you totally ignore this normal loss situation, your unit cost is how much? 5.4, which is lower than 6. Getting it? So what is this 0.6 difference which is coming in between 5.4 and 6? That is the normal loss value. Getting it? So because of normal loss, my cost has increased from 5.4 to 6. Getting it? So this is the story, that normal loss will be charged to the customer. Okay, if you don't charge it to the customer, eventually you may make a loss. Getting it? For example, you said, okay, my cost is 5.4, let me add margin of 0.6 and my selling price is 6. Now think about it, you are charging to the customer 6, right? And effectively speaking, your cost is also 6. Right, everyone, which we calculated here. So basically you are on break even, you are not making any profit. But if you say my cost is 6, so definitely you will charge the customer 6.57 or something, and you will make a profit. So calculating the cost correctly will lead to optimal pricing, like we discussed in the last class in activity based costing also, that if you remember, we were comparing it with absorption costing. So the cost which was coming from absorption costing was not correct, because of which the pricing was not correct. Okay, let's go to the next question. I hope it's clear with everyone. So my friends, again, like I said, this area is the debit side and this area is the credit side, right, everyone? Okay, now what is this question? They are saying you that the units are 6,000 input into the process, the cost was 20,000 for material, labor 5,000, overhead 6,500, total is 31,500, okay, and 6,000. So let me total here also. 6,000, 31,500, right? Then they say finished goods are 4,000 and normal loss is 25% of input, right? So what I will do is I will come here in the answer. I said, okay, normal loss is 25%. So is equal to 0.25. Okay. Uh, is equal to 0.25. Right, everyone? 25% means 0.25. Multiply by 6,000. See, always remember the percentage they are saying 25% of input. So you will multiply with the input, not the output. Okay? And normally it's like that. I mean, if they say only like this, normal loss is 25%, that's it. Still you will multiply with the input because you know the percentage normally it's on input, not on output. Okay? I mean the gross figure, which is the gross figure 6,000. So, but if they say you the normal loss is 25% of output, then definitely you cannot do anything. You have to multiply with 4,000. Okay. So let's total it and see, is it, see this should be 6,000. This should be 6,000. But this is how much? This is 5,500. It means what? It means my actual loss is more than the expectation. Getting it? So to balance it, what will happen? You have to write 500 here. When I will write 500 extra here, it will become 6,000. See? So how much extra loss is there? How much extra loss is there? 500. So we call it abnormal loss. Okay, because total loss is how much overall? See, input was how much? 6,000. Output is how much? 4,000. It means how much is the actual loss? You said 2,000. But how much is the normal loss? 1,500. So the remaining is how much? 500, which is called abnormal loss. This is more than my expectation. Okay, so you need to remember this thing here I am writing for you. Abnormal loss is not charged to the customer, right? Abnormal loss is not charged to the customer. You have to charge to your income statement. Why? Because if you charge abnormal loss to the customer, your cost will go up, your price will go up, your competitiveness will be affected. Right, my friends? And you will not learn. So when you get the abnormal loss, maybe you will do something about it, right? You will ask to the team what happened actually. So you can improve, right? Now see, there can be two reasons for abnormal loss. Either really there is a problem or the standard is wrong. See, this 25% standard may be wrong. So you have to update the standard. Okay, but this can only be possible after careful investigation. Anyways, let's move ahead. See, again, we need what? We need unit cost. How to get the unit cost? Remember the formula? The formula is total cost incurred divided by expected output. And what is expected output? It is input units minus normal loss units, right? So let's see how much is the unit cost in this question. Unit cost. Okay, I'm not writing here. I'm directly doing here for you. So what is the formula? Remember, total cost incurred, which is how much? This much, divided by input how much? This, minus normal loss how much? This, right? So 7 is coming. Okay, please, if you can also do at your side in your calculator. This is the way to do it. I took 31,500 in the numerator and divided by 6,000, which is my input, minus 1,500. So see, remember which the point which I was telling you in the last question, why I am taking expected output, because in this question expected output is different than actual output. I hope you got the point. Okay, because how much is expected output in this question? See, expected output how much? Expected output is 6,000 minus 1,500. 6,000 minus 1,500. 4,500. How much is actual output? Actual output is how much? 4,000. Right? So it means there is abnormal loss. How much? I hope you got the point. Okay, so let's this is simple, very simple. Remember how to calculate it. This is the multiplication of this and this, right? Again, remember, normal loss, this is not applicable. There is no cost for normal loss because we charge it to the customer. But for abnormal loss, there is a cost. How much? The same amount, the same cost, which is this. See, 7. I'm linking it here, 7. You will copy paste it here. And how to calculate this? This into this. Okay, let's see total is matching or not. See, total is matching. Always remember, both sides should match. If they are not matching, it means you have done a mistake. Okay, so what is the answer for this question? They can ask you how much is the unit cost. Answer is 7. They can ask you how much is the cost of finished goods. 28,000. They can ask you how much are abnormal loss units. 500. They can ask you how much is the amount which you will charge to P&L relating to abnormal loss. So you will say $3,500. Okay, everyone? I hope it's clear with everyone. Let's go to the third question. The third question is, they say, again, let me highlight it. So this side is my debit side, right? And this side is my credit side. Okay, same here also. So they say the material is 8,000. Okay, the material is how much? 8,000 units. Okay, it can be liter, kilogram, whatever. The cost is 10,000. See, remember I told you, sometimes they don't say labor and overhead. Sometimes they will say conversion cost. So CC means conversion cost. So they say the conversion cost is 8,000. It means they are trying to tell you that labor and overheads total how much? 8,000. Okay. Finished goods are 6,200 units and normal loss is 25% of input. Let us see how to solve it. Okay. So first of all, we will total it definitely. Let us total it. This is 8,000. This is 18,000. Right. So my friends, how to get normal loss? Remember how to get normal loss? Is equal to 0.25 multiplied by input. So we got to know that normal loss is 2,000. Okay. Assume that my input is 8,000 and your normal loss is 2,000. How much should be output? How much should be output? Should be output. How much should be output? 6,000. How much should be output? 6,000, right? But how much is actual output? Okay, should be output means what? Actually, expected output, right? Should be output means what? Expected output. Okay, how much is expected output? How much is actual output? Right? So see, my actual output is more, right? This is called abnormal gain. Okay. How much? 200. So remember, we didn't charge abnormal loss to the customer. So similarly, we don't give the credit of abnormal gain to the customer. Okay, like with like. Abnormal gain is not credited to the customer, means like you will not give the advantage of abnormal gain to the customer because that is your efficiency. You will credit to your P&L. Okay. So if I total this, my friends, total this. So see, this is coming 8,200. If you remember the T account methodology, so you know very well, I need to focus on heavier side. So which is the heavier side? This one, right? So the other side I have to change now, which is this one. So what I will do is I will say is equal to this side, 8,200. But see, there is a difference here of 200, which is AG. AG means abnormal gain. Sorry, AG means abnormal gain. So if I keep here 200, what will happen? This will match. See? So you got to know your abnormal gain is 200. Let's see how much is the unit cost. Formula same. Huh? What is the formula? Total cost incurred divided by expected output. So I say, okay, this is my total cost incurred divided by see, expected output we already calculated, so I am taking from here directly 3. If you multiply 3 with 6200, what will happen? It's coming 18,600. For normal loss, if you remember, I told you it's not applicable. Okay. So when you total it, this is becoming 18,600. Again, the credit side is more. What do you have to do? You will change this total on the debit side. You will link it like this. Okay, see, there is a problem here because it's formula on formula. I hope you know this in Excel sheet. So I will manually just punch it. This is 18,600. Okay. I have to, because this 3 will change actually. Because in the formula here, I took this value. So let me change this formula here. And I will manually punch here 18,000. Okay. Now I can change it. So 18,600 I am writing here. Okay. So my friends, if you see there is a gap here, how much? This total is 18,000, but the total is how much? 18,600. So where is the difference? Here is the difference, right? So if you remember in abnormal loss, we took 7. The same, I mean the unit cost. Here also we will take the same unit cost here. This one. Okay, getting it everyone? 600. So see, it will match now. 18,600 on both sides. So this is the situation if you have abnormal gain. Okay, so what we have learned so far? We have learned how to tackle normal loss only, right? And how to tackle your abnormal loss and how to tackle your abnormal gain. Okay, so let us go to question number 4 now. Okay, now see, in question number 4, they are saying you that the material is 500. Okay, the material is how much? The material is 500 units. The cost is 9,000. Labor is this much, overhead is this much, total this much. Okay. Now finished goods they say 400, and they told you CWIP means what? Closing work in progress. Okay. So closing work in progress means these are some units which are not fully completed. So how many units are not fully completed? 100. Right? So we need to know exactly that how much is not completed. I mean, from which perspective it is not completed. So you got to know, examiner will tell you that from material point of view, they are 100% complete. Okay, so you will write like this. Below CWIP, you can write like this. Then they say from labor point of view, it is 80% complete. From overhead point of view, it is also 80% complete. Or they can say you in summary, they can say conversion cost is 80%. So you need to remember what they are trying to say you. Conversion cost is 80% means what? That labor and overhead both are 80%. Clear? Now my friends, let's see how to solve this type of question. So there is a good news for you, and the good news is that if they will ask you this closing work in progress or opening work in progress, they will not ask you for normal loss, for this abnormal loss and abnormal gain. Okay, although there can be, but that is part of advanced process costing which is not in your course. Getting it, everyone? So if Closing work in progress will come. Abnormal loss and abnormal gain will not come. Okay. So how to solve this type of question? This type of question we cannot solve through the formula which I told above, which is the total cost incurred divided by expected output. No, we cannot use that formula here. So what we will do, we will use an approach which is called EPU. See, by using EPU approach, calculate unit cost and cost of CWIP. So let me show you how to make EPU. EPU means equivalent production units. Let me explain you first what is the idea behind it. So I'm saying you, for example, there are 10 chairs. Okay, there are 10 chairs and they are 80% complete. So for example, material is there, definitely the wood of the chair. But labor has to do a little bit more effort on it to finalize the chair. It can be polishing, finishing, anything, right? And overheads also we have to incur because we need electricity, we need maybe some paint or other things, paint or maybe some glue we need, right? So that can be indirect material, because if you remember, I told you what is the difference between direct and indirect. Direct material for a chair can be the wood of the chair, right? Because it can be easily traceable that how much kilogram of wood you will use on one chair. But if you say about the glue or paint, maybe, because this is also material, or maybe the screws, so you can trace it, but you have to do a lot of effort for that. I mean, you say, okay, the paint box is maybe 10 liters. So let us see how much liter of paint we use on one chair, right? Then you try to do some analysis on this. So this is wasteful effort if you do like this. Similarly, you have screws. So maybe you have a packet of screws, 100 screws. So you are trying to see on one chair how much screws we use. So how much should be the cost of screws on one chair? So you can do this, but see, it is not easily traceable. And also sometimes what happens is maybe some screws are not good, they are faulty. So out of 100, maybe 10 screws are faulty. Then again you do some analysis on the screw packet that 10 screws were faulty, it means 90 are good screws. Okay, normal loss 10%. Then you do some calculation and you say, okay, this much cost is for the screws. Getting it? So this is, I mean, there is no need to do this effort. You can keep that as indirect material and later on you can absorb on the product. Okay. But see, sometimes the screws are very special, like if I tell you maybe, so there is no chance of faulty screw in that case, because those it's big screws, which are used maybe in the cars or in the aircraft, so that can be considered there in that case, because there is no chance of faulty screw, plus the cost is very high for that screw. Okay, so itself it is like it can be called as a direct material. Anyways, so my friends, in this case, whenever CWIP or OWIP, which is opening work in progress, is given, you have to do EPU approach. Let us see how to do EPU approach. Okay, before I go to show you EPU, let me tell you one thing. See, whatever is written on the debit side in the green area, these are your columns. Okay, remember this. Whatever is written on the debit side in the green color, they are your columns. Okay, whatever is written on the credit side in orange color, they are your rows. This is how to construct the EPU. Okay, I have already constructed for you. See, this is EPU. So see how many columns I made? 3 columns. Material, labor, overhead. If they are giving you material CC, so you will make 2 columns, material and CC. And 1 column also make for total. Okay. Now see how many rows we made. What we have in the credit side, remember 2 things, finished goods and CWIP. So I wrote here in the rows, finished goods and CWIP, right? So this is how to construct your EPU. So you need to remember what are my columns and what are my rows. So column is what? Column is your debit side, rows are your credit side. Okay. So my friends, in this question, we don't have opening work in progress. We only have closing work in progress. So remember this again, I'm telling you. In this question, we don't have any opening work in, maybe this is the first month we have started production. So we don't have any opening. Or maybe the last month we completed all the goods. So there is no opening work in progress. Okay. So what we do normally, basically, how many are your finished goods? See, 400, right? So just write here 400, 400, 400. Why? Because I'm saying 400 units are totally complete from every perspective. 400 units are totally complete from every angle. From material point of view, from labor point of view, from overhead point of view. Right? This is the idea. That's why in every column I wrote 400. Let us see about CWIP. So then they say there are 100 units in CWIP which are 100% complete from material point of view. So what I will do here, I will write 100. Right? Then I say there are 100 units which are 80% complete as per labor. So 100 into 80%, how much? 80. Right? So 80. Similarly here 80. This is the way to calculate, just multiplication, nothing else. Let us total, this is called your EPU. You have to total these things and it will become your EPU. Okay, examiner can ask you, how much are equivalent units for material? So the answer is 500. Examiner can ask you, how much are equivalent units for labor? Answer is 480. Examiner can ask you, how much are equivalent units for overhead? Answer is 480. Okay, so these are requirements in exam. What is our target basically? Our target are three things. How many things? Three things. Let me highlight in yellow color. This one, and this one. These three are the major requirements in a process costing question. So they will ask you how much is the unit cost? How much is the cost of finished goods, which is this total amount? And they can ask you how much is the cost of closing work in progress, which is this amount. Okay. This is not applicable. Always remember, we don't write anything here because there is no unit cost of closing work in progress in totality, but there is individually you can have it. In totality, you cannot have a unit cost for closing work in progress. Okay, I will show you why. Then we have the cost. Remember, it's given here already. How much is the cost of material during the month? How much is the cost of labor during the month? How much is the cost of overhead during the month? This one, right? So my friends, unit cost. How much is the unit cost? Shall I divide 500 with 9,000 or 9,000 with 500? Right? If I need the unit cost, I will keep cost in the numerator. So 9,000 divided by 500. Okay, which is 18. You can copy here formula 18, 8 and 16. Why we made the total column? Because of this reason. We need the total unit cost, which is how much? 42. Right? So how much is the unit cost total for this month? 42. Where to write this 42? Here. So I'm linking here formula 42. Okay. Got it, everyone? Okay, 42. So we got the first answer. Once you get this, this is automatically you can calculate. See how? 42 multiplied by 400. 16,800 is the cost of finished goods. Right? Everyone? Okay. First of all, total the T account also. So this is 500 and this is 2520 and this is also 500. Okay, you can total it. So see, both are matching, right? 500, 500. It means what? It means there is no abnormal loss and no abnormal gain. No normal loss also, right? So now see, there is a difference. If you see this 16,800 is not matching with this 2520. It means what? There is some amount to be written here, right or not? There is some amount to be, this is the balancing figure. Let us see this balancing figure. Okay, this minus this, if I do, I can get, again there is two formulas anyways. Let me do it manually. Yeah, like this. Sorry. This minus this. Yeah, so how much is coming? See, how much is coming? The balance 3720. Okay, if you want, you can prove this 3720. How? Let us see. Okay, here this yellow figure which I've highlighted here, this should come 3720. This is the total cost of closing work in progress. So my friends, how to get cost of CWIP? I will say how many are CWIP units. See how many? 100. Multiply by how much is the unit cost of material during the month? 18. So I got how much? 1800. You do this for all three of them and then total it. So magic. See magic. Okay, this is the reconciliation for you, that your cost of CWIP is how much? 3720, which is matching with this 3720 here. Getting it? If it's not matching, it means you have done a mistake. So you can confirm your answer like this. Okay. So see, again I'm repeating the approach. If you have closing work in progress, you make the EPU and calculate up till this area. Calculate the unit cost. Then keep the unit cost in the T account. Calculate the cost of finished goods and calculate this figure as balance. This is balance for you. Okay, and then prove it. Balance and proof. Okay, to make sure your answer is correct, you can balance, first of all balance it, then go here and prove it like this. Got the point? This is the approach to do closing work in progress type of a question. I hope it's clear with everyone. Let us continue with the fifth question. Now see, now we are moving towards now we are moving towards opening work in progress. Getting it, everyone? Now we are moving towards opening work in progress. Okay. Whenever there is opening work in progress, you need to know which method to use. Again, I am repeating. Whenever there is opening work in progress, you need to remember which method to use. How many types of methods are there? Two. The first method is called weighted average method. In short, I have written it for you as AVCO. So weighted average method. Okay. The second method is called first in first out method, which is coming in the 7th question below. See, first in first out. And this is the completion of your process costing if you know how to tackle both of these methods, and that's it. Okay. So basically, if you solve these 7 questions, you can solve any MCQ in your course if you can solve these 7 questions properly. Okay. Basically, there are 6 questions. This the 6th one is just classwork type of, the repeat of 5th question. So overall, you can say there are 6 types of scenarios. So if you know these 6 scenarios, which are explained in these 7 questions, you can easily solve any question on process costing, inshallah. Okay. Now see, let's focus here what's going on. So see, always remember, again I am repeating, whenever there is opening work in progress like this, see, opening work in progress, you need to know which method to use. Method examiner will tell you. Either he will say weighted average method, Either he will say first in first out method. Okay. So let's see how to solve this type of question. So first of all, let me total the debit side units. Okay, so let me explain you first of all how to read this T account. So examiner will tell you in a paragraph, he will say during the month, opening units are 200. Okay, which are 100% complete as per material, 80% complete as per labor and overheads. Okay, and these are the relevant cost for opening unit. So he will tell you, okay, material opening 2400, labor opening 1200, and overhead opening 400. Right, everyone? Then the material during the month. This material is during the month. Getting it, everyone? So during the month, the material input is 500 units at a cost of 6,000, and labor and overhead is this much. I hope it's clear with everyone. Okay. So moving on, let us calculate the total of this column, which is 14840. Right, everyone? Very nice. So moving ahead, my friends, examiner continued. He say during the month 600 units are completed and 100 units are still pending. Okay, as closing or maybe transferred to the next process. So these are 100 units and which are 100% complete as per material and 50% complete as per labor, 30% complete as per overhead. So see here different, huh? So he is saying you please calculate unit cost. Okay, I told you there are mainly three requirements. Please calculate the cost of finished goods and please calculate the cost of closing work in progress. These three are the requirements always. So what is the first thing you will do when you are starting? You will total this column and you will see is there any normal loss, abnormal loss or abnormal gain, and it will not be there. Why? As I told you in your course, if they give you opening or closing, they will not test you for normal, abnormal loss and gain. Anyways, so just to check, because you have to check that to confirm, we will check anyways. So this is matching. It means there is no normal loss, no abnormal loss, no abnormal. Now we need the unit cost. To get the unit cost, what you have to do? You have to create EPU working, right? Equivalent production units. So remember I told you how to create this working. Whatever is written on the debit side, these are your columns. So material, labor, overhead are my columns. Always remember. Okay, now see in this question on the debit side, opening is also written. So don't do this mistake that you create a column for opening also. No, because that is a row. Okay. So in short, now you can remember that the types of costs are my columns. Okay. And these units are my rows. Okay, like this. See, I will show you. So I have material, labor and overhead as my columns, right? Just a new thing I added here, which is opening work in progress. Getting it? This is the additional thing here, opening work in progress. So you created additional row for that, which is opening work in progress. Okay, I hope it's clear with everyone how to construct the EPU working. Now, my friends, as I said, there are two methods. One is called weighted average method, which I am mentioning like ABCO, and the other one is first in first out method, which I am discussing in question number 7 below. So both have some differences. If you can remember these differences, life will become easy for you. Okay, otherwise you will be confused all the time. So what I have done is I have summarized those differences for you. Let us see the first difference. So definitely, if you need to make EPU, first of all, you need to know how much figure to write here, what to write here. So the answer is written below. See, tips while using weighted average method. Number 1, ignore opening work in progress percentage. So whenever you are using weighted average method, you will ignore this area. See, getting it? I'm coloring in red color, and I'm coloring this also in red color, so you can relate it. Okay, see, these three red colors are related with each other. Okay, so I'm saying ignore. When I'm saying ignore, it means you will write a not applicable. So we don't consider opening work in progress units when we are creating EPU under weighted average method. Okay, I will tell you the logics after this discussion. Okay, let me complete this first. See, first of all, remember, when I am saying average, it means I need to total, right? I need to total. Okay, just remember this. When I am saying average, it means I need to total. Okay. Now the next question is finished goods. So my friends, finished goods. See the number 2 point for this. Sorry, number 3 point for this. What is the number 3 point? Take full finished good units. What is the third point? Take full finished good units. How many are finished good units? 600. So just write it in totality. Like we wrote above. Remember, in the above working, we also took full finished good units. This is a normal working. I mean, whenever there is no opening work in progress, you do like this, what we have done in question number 4. I mean, you don't need to remember any rules for this. So whatever is finished good, we take it as it is. So here also, in the weighted average method, we follow the same principle. We just take them in total. Why? Because we don't care that these finished goods are coming from opening units or these finished goods are coming from the units we started during the month. This is the assumption actually. So see, I am highlighting these three now: 600, 200, 500. So I am not concerned with it that this 600 units is coming from those 200 units or 500 units. Definitely some of it will be from 200 and some of it will be from 500, but I don't care, because what method I am using? Weighted average method. Getting it? But when you will use first in first out, so the assumption will be that the 200 units which are coming in are part of these 600 units. This is the assumption. So that we will see in first out. Okay, here again I am repeating why we are ignoring opening units, because we don't care that the finished good units are coming from, I mean, how much is coming from the opening. We don't care. This is the assumption, because we are just taking an average. Okay, closing. There is no rule to remember for closing. It is done the same way we have done above. So what you do basically, you take the 100, I mean the units, whatever is given, and multiply with the completion percentage, which is 100%, which is 1 definitely. So what about this one? 100 into 0.5. And what about this one? 100 into 0.3. Getting it, my friends? So that's it. Your EPU is ready. So this is 700, this is 650, this is 630. So examiner can ask you, how much are equivalent units for material? So the answer is 700. How much are equivalent units for labor? 650. Overhead 630. Cost. Question. Because you have two types of costs here. These are coming from the opening and these are coming from during the month. So for this you have rule number 2. What is rule number 2? Rule number 2 is add cost of opening work in progress and current period. Why? Because see, we are taking average. So when we are taking average, remember I told in the start, you have to total. So total what? Basically total the cost. So see my formula now for material. I'm taking this 2400 and I'm taking this 6000 together. So the answer is 2400. Then I am taking for labor 1200 plus 3350. Then I am taking for overheads 400 plus 1490. Getting it? So these are my costs. Total you can also do to match your answers. With the T account, see, it's coming 14840. Just to reconcile that you don't miss anything. Okay. So my friends, unit cost, very simple. Remember, we just calculated above also. This divided by this. And also if you need the unit cost total, it's 22. Right? If you add all these three, it will become 22. What to do with this 22? Remember, I told you, what is the approach? We will keep this 22 here. Right? 22. Okay. So once 22 is here, what we can do is we can calculate this or not, this total. How much? 13,200. Right? So if you remember, I told you in T account, we take the heavier side. So see, this is the heavier side. So 14840, I am writing here 14840. So this thing will be the balancing figure. See, remember, balance and what I wrote above, balance and proof. Yeah, balance and proof. So balance and proof. So how to balance this minus this? So 1640 is coming my cost of closing work in progress. Remember, this is not applicable here. Don't write cost here, because as I said, the closing work in progress has a unit cost, but individually, not in totality. Okay, total is only for finished goods. Then we will come here and we will say, okay, how much is my closing work in progress? This into the unit cost, right? Same you will do for all three, and then you can total it. See, magic will happen. See, magic. Okay, what is the magic? It's matching, right? 1640 with 1640. It means no mistake. So this is how to solve a question from weighted average method. I hope it's clear with everyone. So moving on, we are having 6. Question number 6, if you see here, this is your homework. Huh? So when I will share this file with you, you can just do it. You can solve it here and check your answers. Where are the answers? The answers you will right click here and see there is unhide. So when you click unhide, you will find here the answers. So you can see the answer for question number 6 on this sheet. Okay. So let's see the last scenario, which is first in, first out. Okay. So my friends, this is your debit side and this is your credit side. Okay, so let's see what to do in the first in, first out situation. Again, let me remind you, whenever there is opening work in progress, you need to know which method to use. An examiner will tell you which method to use. How many methods are there? Only 2. Number 1, weighted average. Number 2, first in, first out. That's it. Okay, this is completion of process costing here. Once you do this first in, first out. Okay. So my friends, again, examiner will give you a paragraph. He will say, during the month, opening units from the previous month, definitely 200, which are 100% complete as per material. So you will write like this, 75% complete as per conversion cost. The relevant cost of material is 1800 and 4000 for CC. Full stop. Next paragraph. During the month, material was added 1900 units at a cost of 19,000 and CC was 38,000. Full stop. Finished goods during the month are 2000 and the units still under process at the end of the month are 100, which are 100% complete as per material and 50% complete as per conversion cost. Full stop. Requirement. Calculate unit cost. calculate cost of finished goods, calculate cost of closing work in progress by using first in first out method. Okay, so this is your question in a paragraph. So when you will create this T account, you will plot figures like this, and we will also do the MCQs in the next class, inshallah, and I will tell you how to plot the figures by using a paragraph and make this T account. Okay. So my friends, examiner will not tell you again and again use EPU approach. You should know this. Okay, if he is not telling you, you should know this. I mean, whenever there is opening or closing work in progress, you have to use EPU approach. Okay, let's start the solution. So my friends, now this is answer 7, right? So always write on the top which method you are using, so you don't forget. Okay, because you know there are some differences between weighted average and first in first out. So now they told you, I explained you already how they will tell you everything. So what we need basically, we need the unit cost, right my friends? To get this we need to make EPU, remember? How to make EPU? How many columns are there in this question? 2 only. Why? Because we have material and conversion cost, right? How many rows will be there? 3. Opening, finished good, closing, like this. See? Okay. So how many columns are there? 2, including one total column also. And how many rows? Opening, finished good, closing. Okay. So whatever we discussed above, see, you can see in the screen here also. These are the tips for weighted average. Opposite are the tips for first in first out, if you see below. Right? So what we said in the average, we say ignore opening because we were doing average. In first in first out, what is the assumption? As the name is saying itself, the units which came in first are going out first. It means what? These 200 units which are coming in are part of these 2000 units which are going out. Again, the 200 units which are coming in are part of these finished good units which are 2000. Okay, how much is 2000 minus 200? 1800, right? These 1800 units are those units which are coming from these 1900 units. Okay. Okay, what is this 1900? These are called started during the month. So those 1800 units which I am saying, they are called started and finished. If examiner is asking you how many units are started and finished, so you will say 1800. Okay, units. Okay, so see, out of 1900, if 1800 are completed, how much is remaining? How much is remaining? 100, right? So basically these closing work in progress units, the assumption here is that these closing units are from those 1900 units. Getting the story? Before in the earlier example, we were not sure that how many units are from the input and how many units are from the opening. So we were just taking average. I hope the logic is clear with everyone. So my friends, opening work in progress you have to consider now, because you know this is a big assumption that the units which are coming in first are going out first. Okay. So how to consider the opening work in progress percentage? They are saying 200 units are there in the opening, very nice, which are 100% complete as per material. So the biggest mistake which you will do is you will write here 200, because you know 200 units are 100% complete. So don't do this mistake please, because you know these are completed in the last month. Getting it? When I'm saying opening 100% material, it means in the last month material is already added. So during the month, this EPU you are making for the month. It means during this month I have not done any effort on the opening units from material point of view. I hope it's clear. So basically what you have to do, you have to take the remaining percentage. Like for material there is no remaining percentage, right? So you will say 0. 0. Now see, I am not writing here not applicable. I am writing 0. In the above working, remember, here we wrote not applicable because we were totally ignoring it. But here I am calculating it, but the answer is 0. Okay. What about CC? So see, CC is 75% complete here, right? It means how much is remaining to be done in this month? 25%. So what you will do is, you will say 200 into 25%, which is 50. I hope it's clear with everyone. So this is the rule. Consider opening work in progress. Okay. Now, the next thing is finished goods. What to do with finished goods? Remember, in the weighted average, I told you take full finished good units. Okay. But here you cannot take. Why? Because here we are assuming, right, that the units which came in first are going out first, and we are separately considering the opening units here. So that's why these finished goods, what you are writing here, they are those units which are started and completed. Which are started and completed. Okay, how to calculate them? Basically, you will say, okay, finished goods are 2000, but out of this, 200 is opening. So how many are started and completed? Only 1800. So you will take only 1800. I hope it's clear with everyone. Okay, and same here also, from both perspectives. Again, finished goods, what you will take? Only those units which are started and completed. Why? Because opening, I am already having a row for that. Separately, I am considering the opening units. Okay. Closing, no issues. Closing is very simple. Okay, closing is very easy. You just take whatever is your closing units, which are 100. How much is complete from material point of view? Totally they are complete into 1. And how much is complete from CC point of view? Only 50%, so 0.5. Okay, so this is your EPU ready with you, 1900 and 1900. Examiner can ask you, how many units equivalent from material point of view? 1900. How many units equivalent from CC? 1900. Okay. This is first in first out method. Okay, everyone. Now next question in your mind, how much cost I should take? Remember how much cost we took in weighted average? We said we will add the cost together because we were doing weighted average. But here you will not add the cost together. You will only take current period cost. See, I have written number 2 for you. Don't add cost of opening and current period. No need. We will only take the current period cost. Okay, because this is first in first out method. But it doesn't mean that I am not considering this cost. I will consider it, but in a different way. I will show you in a while. Okay. So this cost I will take which one? During the current month, 19,000. And here I will take 38,000. Okay. Let us also total the columns to know there is any loss or something. No loss. See, 2100 matching with 2100. It means there is no normal loss, abnormal loss, or abnormal gain. How much is my cost total? 62,800. The next thing, my friends, is unit cost. This divided by this, right? How much is your total unit cost? 30. The biggest second mistake you will do is you will keep this 30 here. Okay, this 30 if you keep here, let me show you something. I am doing mistake now to tell you what will happen if you do this mistake. So then you said, okay, let me multiply this with this. Okay, so you got 60,000. Then you say, okay, the total is matching with the, should match with the debit. So 62,800 should be total. And how much should be closing? Should be the difference between this and this, right? How much is the difference? 6. And you said, okay, balance and proof, right, everyone? So basically, my friends, you have done a big mistake. Let us see what's your mistake. Then you came here to proof. You say, okay, my closing is 100 and my unit cost is 10. And then you did like this. Right, everyone? And you totaled it. So you got 2000. See, this 2000 is not matching with this 2800 here. See? So it means there is a mistake. You have done a big mistake. I hope everyone is clear on this. So my friends, to avoid this mistake, I will give you a tip. What is that tip? That is the fourth tip. You see here, fourth tip. Don't make unit cost column to avoid confusion. Okay, let me first of all reverse everything. So we will remove everything here like this. Okay. So we are here. See, we got the unit cost 30. Now, don't do this mistake of writing 30 here. Why? Because I told you fourth tip, right? Don't write here the unit cost. So here you will not write anything. In this space, don't write anything. Okay? You can write here not applicable. Although the unit cost is 30. I mean, if examiner is asking you, what is unit cost of the month? So the answer is 30. But I will not write in the T account. Why? Because if I wrote in the T account, I will do a mistake. So what to do? So my friends, whenever you have first in first out, the approach is a little bit different. What is the approach? You will complete full EPU. Unlike weighted average, where we wrote the unit cost in a T account, then we took closing as a balancing figure, then we proved it, right? You will reverse this. You will say, okay, let me complete the T account, the EPU first. Let us complete the EPU first. So this into this. Okay. So how much is your cost of closing work in progress? 2000. So this 2000 you will write here. Getting it, everyone? So remember, last time we were taking this as a balancing figure and proving it. But this time we will take this as a balancing figure and we will prove it. Opposite. I hope it's clear with everyone. Last time we took closing work in progress as a balancing figure and we proved it. This time we will take finished good cost as a balancing figure and we will prove it. Okay. So how much is total? 62,800. And if 2000 is closing, how much should be this? This minus this, right, everyone? Okay. So my friends, in exam, definitely you will not go on to prove it. You can directly tell them this is the answer, but you should know how to prove it. Because question can come from this reconciliation also, which I am showing you now below. Okay, so what we are going to do is, we need 60,800. So what I wrote here, see, there is a second approach to get 60,800. What is that approach? Three-step approach. What is the first step? By the way, what is this 60,800? This is the total cost of finished goods. And how many are finished good units? 2000. Okay. It means I need the total cost of 2000 finished good units, which is 60,800. Okay. So my friends, how to get it? First of all, if you remember, I told you, let me write here also. Finished good units, how many? 2000. In this 2000, there are two elements. The number one element is coming from opening work in progress, which are how many? 200, right? And the remaining units are called started and finished. Right, everyone? Started and finished. So if you net off 1800. Got it, everyone? So if I need to know, see, these are units. And how much is cost? Let me write like this. How much is unit cost? And how much is cost total? So I got to know from my working that the cost of finished good units is how much? 60,800. Got it, everyone? I am saying the cost of these 2000 units is 60,800. It means that this 60,800 is a combination of these two figures. What is the combination? Because 200 units are coming from the opening stock and 1800 units are coming from the started and finished. Okay, so that's why you have to classify like this. Now see, opening work in progress, how much was the cost? Remember, this much. These two are the cost in the opening. But this is not the only cost. So if I write here, for example, this total is how much? 5,800, right? 5,800. This is coming from the previous period. It means there is a little cost which I incurred on opening units during the current month, which I am not considering right now. Okay? So you got to know, see, there are three steps. Number one is how much is the cost of opening work in progress, which is this 5,800. So I am writing here for you 1,800 plus 4,000. This is coming from the previous month. Okay. So which is how much? 5,800. Right, everyone? The next second step is you need to know how much is the cost I incurred on opening units during the current month to complete them, right? Because remember, from material point of view, they were ready, but from CC point of view, they still needed 25% extra effort. To know this, you went in the EPU and you went in the row of opening. So you got to know this is 0, fine, but this is 50. It means during the month I have incurred cost on the 50 cc, 50 units of cc. So what you will do is you will say here, I am linking with the formula so you don't forget this. This 50, and what is the relevant cost of cc during the month? 20,000. Got it, everyone? Okay, my friends. So examiner is asking you, how much is the cost of opening units coming from the previous month? Very simple. The answer is 5,800. No need to do any working if the examiner is asking like this. You know, there are some MCQs. They give you a full question, full paragraph, and the requirement is how much is the cost of opening units coming from the previous month. That's it. So no need to do any working. It's very clear from the question itself that it's 5,800. Okay. Second question, examiner will ask you, how much is the cost incurred on opening units during the month? Again, how much is the cost incurred on opening units during the month? So the answer is how much? 1,000, because this is the extra effort I have done on opening units. Third question, examiner will ask you, how much is the total cost of opening units? How much is the total cost of opening units? So the answer is these two together. 6,800 is the answer. So you will say the total cost of opening units is 6,800. Getting it, everyone? My friends, I hope it's clear with everyone. The third thing is, my friends, those units which were started and completed during the month, which are 1,800. So now what you will do is, you will say, okay, 1,800 multiply by the unit cost of the month, which is how much? 30. Now you know why I didn't keep this 30 here. See, I am saying not applicable. Why? Because this 30 pertains to the units which are started and completed, which are 1,800. This 30 doesn't pertain to these 2,000 units in totality. I hope you got the point. So my friends, I will do here like this. 1,800 multiply by the unit cost of the month, 54,000. See, total is coming how much? It's proved 60,800. And this 60,800 is I approved here. Balance and proof. So this is the way to prove it. But in exam, definitely you will not prove it. But if examiner is asking these questions which I am telling you, then you have to do this working. Again, examiner asked you, how much is the cost of those units which were started and completed during the month? So the answer is how much? 54,000. Getting it, everyone? So these three different questions he can ask you. How much is the cost of opening coming from the previous month? That is very clear. How much is the cost incurred on opening units during the month? that is 1000. And how much is the cost of those units which were started and completed? 54,000. And finally, the requirement is how much is the cost of finished goods? So that is 60,800 total of everything. Okay, how much is the unit cost? 30. How much is the cost of closing work in progress? 2000. How much are equivalent units of material? 1900. How much are equivalent units of CC? 1900. Okay, one more thing they can ask you. How much is the unit cost of material during the month? 10. How much is the unit cost of CC during the month? 20. How much is the total unit cost? 30. Okay, they can also ask you, how much is the cost of material in closing work in progress? 1000. How much is the cost of CC in closing work in progress? 1000. Getting it, my friends? So all these can be requirements which I am highlighting now in, let me highlight in this color, green. Okay, these all can be your requirements. Okay, this can be the requirement, this can be the requirement, these two can be the requirement. Okay. So I mean, it depends on the question itself, what they are trying to ask you. Even they can ask you units only. How many units are started and finished? So this working is there. So once you are okay with this working, you can solve any question. That's how I told you in the start that if you are okay with these workings, you can solve any question, and we will see that when we will solve MCQs inshallah. So my friends, this is the end of process costing.